Sometimes it's great to go back to the basics. Does this GPP-based CrossFit program do that? Let's find out. What's up everyone, Jason Brown here, the king of programming, back for another program review. Today we are reviewing Jump Ship Crew, which is a program that is a GPP-based CrossFit program. For those of you who don't know, GPP stands for General Physical Preparedness. And a lot of times we think of CrossFit as being more GPP, and I know a lot of programs tout the GPP message, but I will tell you that a lot of them miss the mark on GPP. And as a whole, GPP is one of those things I think that is undervalued in the strength and conditioning world. But we're gonna review this program today and give you kind of the rundown of what is here. So I started all these videos off the same way. What am I looking at? I am not watching a 10-minute video if there is one in here. I am not doing extra homework. I am looking at the fundamentals of program design. That is exercise selection, exercise order, sets, reps, and rest intervals, conditioning, what types of conditioning, is there conditioning, and if there is, are we able to get to the desired stimulus with that conditioning? And of course, there's a lot of other things that play into this, like efficiency. Is the program laid out in a way that I can get it done in a legitimate amount of time? I don't know many people these days that have an unlimited amount of time to train, and we need to be concise with that. Now, when you deliver an online program, there's certainly things that we can't do that we would do if we were training someone in person. So there are a lot of things that go into this. I've done a lot of these reviews now, and we've talked about the fundamentals. But a lot of times I tend to get more towards the efficiency of the program and the creativity and the structure. So there's a lot that makes up a great program. These reviews could be much longer than they are. I try to keep them shorter because I know you don't have an unlimited amount of time, and I appreciate all of you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you are new, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We are doing a lot more of these reviews. We are making a concerted effort to get more of these programs reviewed so we can start informing people about what programs are good, what programs are bad, what programs to completely stay away from, because I think that there are programs out there right now that are completely negligent and are doing people a disservice. And a lot of those programs are being pushed by people that have great physiques. If you have a great physique, does that mean you have a great program? Definitely not. So without further ado, let's get into what's here. This is delivered in the Train Heroic app. I did a 7-day trial that any of you can do and see exactly what I'm seeing for free. And I am familiar with this app because I use it for my own training subscriptions, both of which have free 7-day trials. I would love for you to check out, grab yourself a free trial on either of my training subscriptions. We've got 2 that are really great, geared towards the highly advanced individual that's been training for 10+ years, that's ready to train smarter, and we got 2 tracks for that. So not to sit here and plug my own thing, but if you are someone that's been training for 10+ years, it might be a good fit for you. So anyways, we're looking at day number 1, and what we have is essentially, this program is set up on a 90-minute running clock, so we're assuming people have 90 minutes to train. We've got 2 conditioning pieces in this day, and actually, they include in that the warm-up piece. So our conditioning is happening from 20 to 40 minutes. We've got an AMRAP times 2, or 5 times AMRAP 2. So 5 2-minute AMRAPs. Kind of hard to say. With 2 minutes rest in between, we've got calories on the bike, and then a max rep squat snatch at 135 and 95. So this is a typical CrossFit couplet. I actually like this piece. I think this is a really challenging piece. It's certainly anything high rep Olympic lifting challenges people. You might be thinking, if you're not from the CrossFit world, you might be thinking, oh, it's stupid. But, again, it's to each their own. If you like doing Olympic lifting in a conditioning setting and you're proficient with it, then I don't necessarily have an issue with it. I do think as a whole, there are better directions to go, but that's my own bias. So we're not gonna get into that. So I think this conditioning piece is a decent piece. I'd probably go higher on the rest interval, seeing that potentially you're gonna have, 15 to 9 calories, so 15 being for male, 9 being for ladies. That is gonna take someone, again, sliding scale, right? Because the air bike is all based about power, but I would be willing to bet that they're hoping that that is under a minute. So we have under a minute on the bike and then around, a minute plus for our max rep snatches. So I think this is a perfectly fine piece. But if you want to duplicate that output across multiple sets, which in this case is 5 sets, I would probably go a little bit longer. Our next piece is 2 rounds of 99 double unders. Why not 100 double unders? Why 99? I don't know. Maybe there's a certain reason why it's that rep scheme. 33 hang dumbbell snatch. Dumbbell snatch is probably something I would lean on more in a conditioning setting as opposed to a full barbell, full snatch with a barbell. But again, my own personal preference. 11 ring muscle ups. And yeah, I mean, I don't have anything wrong with it. 10-minute cap, there's no rest. And you know, we've got all conditioning on this day, which I like because strength and conditioning, do they blend? Energy sources would say no, they are different things, but it all depends on what type of conditioning and how you're doing it. Anaerobic work that you're doing for the phosphagen system, ATP, PC system, where you're working on power. Is that gonna match with some strength work? It could, and you could get gains from both ends of the spectrum, but you know, Charles Poliquin used to say, if you try to ride a horse with two asses, does it work? You can answer that one. And then we culminate with another conditioning piece, which is a little bit more accessory-based, sandbag carry, which I like, and a barbell row. So overall, conditioning day, I like it. It's mixed modality, conditioning day for a CrossFitter. More GPP-based, maybe. We've got some work here at the end. We're essentially doing 3 sets. I'd probably like to see a little bit more out of that and a little bit less out of the other stuff, but overall, this is a very clear day to me. It's 90 minutes. I don't know many people that have that long to train, but again, you know, if you're doing this program, then you already know that. So, you know, you chose for that very specific reason. So let's look at day 2. We've got our warm up, and then we've got another conditioning piece with sumo deadlift, high pull, handstand push up, deficit handstand push up. Definitely a tough piece with a 12-minute cap. And then we are going into a jerk. Accumulating reps at 70%, 75, 80%, and then a 1 RM. This to me, guys, is kind of odd because think about this we go back to exercise order. Is this work we've done beforehand going to take away from this? 100% it is. But you might be thinking, well, I'm a CrossFit athlete, I need to be prepared for whatever, whenever. And yes, you could make that argument. I wouldn't do this long term though. Once in a while, this could be more testing, if you will, a testing piece for people. But if I was gonna do this on the regular, I would have the strength work done first, the conditioning work done more towards the end. And again, this is a 12-minute piece. Definitely gonna lean more on the aerobic system, but obviously, you know, you got a pretty fast-paced piece here. And I think for someone that has deficit handstand push-ups in the tank, they could get through this pretty quick. And then we've got another AMRAP with thrusters and ring dips and push-ups. And then there is extra work. We're not gonna get into that because you guys don't have all day to watch these reviews, but I think that as a whole, what we have here is a session that isn't too bad. But if we think about day 1 and then day 2, I still see, you know, are we absolutely destroying the shoulders? No, but they're definitely gonna be sore, right? There's definitely gonna be some impact from day 1 to day 2, and then asking someone to do a 1 rep max on the jerk after doing 4, 8, 12 minutes of max reps. Let me know in the comments, guys, how you would feel about doing that. I'm curious. Okay, let's move on to day 3. We've got another conditioning piece, a little bit longer. Well, 14 minutes isn't super long, but 800-meter run followed by front squat, toes to bar. And then we're back squatting, it says times 10. So I'm assuming 8 minutes to establish a 2 RM, and then rest 2 minutes. And then we're doing every 3 minutes for 12 minutes, complete 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so it's, again, exercise order for the day. If you want to test someone, then you could certainly do that. If they want to be prepared for something like the CrossFit Open where you potentially have like a conditioning piece and then a maximal effort piece, a maximal strength piece, that is, then yes, you could do that, but I just wouldn't do it long term. That would be my feedback with that. I think that I would like to know what the rest interval is. 8 minutes for a 2 RM. So 8 minutes for a 2 RM. Let's say you have a 500-pound, let's say, just for sake of argument, let's say you have a 315-pound back squat. We do a set with 135, we rest 2 minutes. We do a set with 185, we rest 2 minutes. We do a set with 225, we rest maybe 2.5 minutes. We do a set with 275, we rest 3 minutes. And then we get to close to our max, maybe we go for a PR, 320. We're resting 3 minutes, 3-4 minutes between that sets. I mean, that's not enough time, guys. You need to rest long. You wanna hit a 2 rep max, a true 2 rep max, you've gotta rest longer to do that. This stuff afterwards, I mean, I'm not a fan of it. I wouldn't do it, but that's me. And then we've got some accessory work, seated press with a negative. We don't need more pressing. We've already got enough pressing in this program. Hit the posterior chain. I like that they have some ring rows. I like that they've got glute bridges, okay? So I would probably just negate the seated press, maybe do some direct triceps work. You could definitely benefit from it, and that would be the day. I would just move these things around. I would squat first. I would, again, front squatting, doing a fair amount of volume with a front squat and then doing a 2-rep back squat. Like, that's not gonna play out well. Okay, so day number 4 of the week, recharge. I like what that means already. I think that this is the recharge day. I like what it's called. I think that's cool. But we're still doing lunging and dips. I'm okay with the lunges, but the dips, we've already done a ton of shoulder. I would negate that. I would make this more cyclical. I think the lunges, I would probably go with body weight and make it higher repetitions just so we're, again, just moving and potentially improving recovery, but I wouldn't use any loading, and I would definitely get rid of, it's 30 ring dips total. I would get rid of those because, again, the shoulders are trash. But I like what this stands for, and I like where it falls in the week. So let's move on. Day 5, conditioning pistols, chest to bar pull-ups, sandbag over shoulder, and then we're doing a hang squat snatch. Again, I don't know why it's that way. I don't know why you would do a 1RM hang squat snatch after doing pistols, 30 pistols. And I'm assuming that's total. So 30 pistols per leg, 20 chest to bar, 10 sandbag over shoulder. Again, drop in the comments. How would you hit a PR on your snatch? Probably not. And again, if the goal is to get better at the just like unknown and unknowable, then maybe you would do this for testing every so often, every 8 to 12 weeks you do something like this, but as a mainstay, definitely not. Okay, and then we've got another finisher, burpee, box jumps, burpees, burpee box jump overs, all done with an optional vest. Again, just kind of lacking on some things here, and I think the order is just completely off, and there is no rest interval as well. All right, so let's look at our final day of programming here. We've got another conditioning piece, 3 times AMRAP 5, 3-minute rest, 250-meter row, 30 wall balls, 6 wall walks, and then in the remaining time, row max distance. I like that. I think that's a good piece. I think 3 minutes rest definitely is fitting for what's here. Then we have a partner workout, a little bit longer duration, more wall balls, more wall walks. I probably would go with something different because we've already done wall walks, we've already done wall balls, and a fair amount of them. You figure we've done 30 wall balls in a 5-minute AMRAP. There's gonna be a fair amount of volume there. I'd probably mix things up a little bit. Then what I really don't like is we've got bench press. Building in weight, every 3 minutes for 15 minutes, 7 reps. Warm up before your first set of 7 to ensure each set is a working set. So essentially 5 sets of 7, 35 reps. After a week that we've already done on Saturday, kind of doesn't serve the same purpose I'd like it to serve. I'd like to see something else. I'd like to see some pulling. I'd like to see even some strict pull-ups in this program, glute ham raises, things that hit the posterior chain, which tends to be my feedback for most of these CrossFit programs is that they just negate key things. And then we've got a finisher of overhead squat and more handstand push-up. If you guys remember, we did ring dips on the day before we did hang snatch and we did burpees and we did chest to bar pull-ups. Even on our recharge day, we did ring dips. The day before that, we did toes to bar, which definitely have a shoulder component. This is definitely probably the easier day on the shoulder joint. So either way, we've got a lot of things going on here. Overall, I think this is not a bad program. I think that we're not killing people, which we do tend to see with a lot of these CrossFit programs. There isn't an organization across the week. So let's get into the pros and cons of this program. Pro number 1 is that it is fairly organized. We're doing very similar things in really a descriptive way. They've got a running clock, which I like. They're telling you how much time you should be spending on each component. I like. So I think that is definitely an advantage of the program. Pro number 2 would be it's not overkill. It is a GPP program. That's what it said. We're going to talk about whether or not I think that it actually is GPP, but I do think that the intent of the program is somewhat in alignment with what it's being advertised as. So I think that's a pro. And my last pro would be that there is a fair amount of description here in terms of what is being asked, but it's not overkill. So it allows people to get to the training, to get to their warm up, to get into what they need to do, and not have to read a dissertation. So con number one is that the exercise order, doing a max strength movement, 1 rep max, 3 rep max, 2 rep max, or whatever the case would be in this program in the middle of the session, doesn't make a lot of sense just from a fundamental perspective. Now, I've said already that if your goal is to get better at CrossFit, unknown and unknowable, should you do that from time to time? Yes, but should that be a mainstay? No. Put that earlier on in your session so you can put the most amount of effort into it. From a nervous system perspective, it makes sense. Going into it pre-fatigue doesn't make sense. It obviously increases the risk of injury. It also decreases your ability to go to a max load. So I think that that's an easy switch. I'd like to see more rest intervals with our strength work. So con number two would be make sure the rest intervals are there with our strength work. They do a good job with make sure the rest intervals are there with other things, but not with the strength work. And then my last con would be, and this is probably something I could say about most CrossFit programs, is that there's so many things we're not utilizing. If this is a GPP program, I want to see sled pulls, sled pushes. I want to see loaded carries more regularly. I want to see odd objects. I want to see things that don't have as much axial loading. I want to see things that allow us to train smaller patterns, more isolation work, band work. A lot of great strategies we could use in this program to build general physical preparedness. And I think that there's just a lot that's not being done. So I would say more emphasis on that. I'd also say more emphasis on, again, stabilizing the shoulder joint, more upper back work, more hamstrings, more glutes. That is areas of the body for these people that use this program that could use more work. And I think that there's plenty of ways to inject that into this program and have it work out even better and people get even better results. So overall, I think that there's definitely some things that are working well here. I think this program is an approved program. I would give this program a score of 1 to 10. I would go with a 7.4 for this program. What are a list of your favorite exercises to build GPP? Drop them in the comments, I wanna know. See you guys on the next review.
Best program available on the internet today.
I think it's very difficult to find a trainer like Jason that...
Since joining Everyday Heroes, I feel like I've stopped working out and actually started training.